Welcome to another episode of War Machines. Last time, we started the first round for each bracket of this tournament, and we had 10 amazing fights happen in that episode. There are 10 more fights coming tonight that I bet you will enjoy. Let's see who all is returning to the arena tonight and looking to clinch their spot in the next round of the tournament. Appearing in tonight's fight card, we lead off with the horizontal spinner of Apex, who will take on the lifting spikes of King B. Up second, we have the flipper of Kapow, who will take on the horizontal spinner of Lucid Dream. Fight number 3 features the War Machines Season 1 champion, Hydra, and their flipper, as they will look to defend their title against their next challenger, who is Nelly the Ellibot, and their hammer. Fight number 4 is the horizontal spinner of Mo, who will take on the spike of Gladiator. Fight number 5 features the massive vertical spinner of Nightmare, who will take on the flipper of Wheelie Big Cheese. Next up features another one you won't want to miss. We have the lifter of Breakerbox, who will take on the wedge of Limpet. The next one, we have a flipper battle between an adorable kitten and Behemoth. Next up, we have the punching drum spinner of Tantrum, who will take on the vertical spinner of Uppercut. Following that, the second to last fight of the night features Wharf and their Undercutter, who will take on the flipper of Thermidor 2. Finally, we have tonight's main event, which features the Thwackbot of Gabriel, who will take on the horizontal spinner of Hypnodisc. Great lineup tonight. Many of these fights could go either way. Let's now get to our first fight of the episode. We start off with a battle between the 17 and the 48 seed. We have Apex and King B. On the left side, we have Apex, who is given the 17 seed after showing off a lot of power in that horizontal spinner. Now, that spinner has a lot of power to it. It's also very large and has quite a bit of reach to it. However, their only issue, which was exposed in their last fight, but they still came out with the win even with those problems, is their own stability. They tend to flip over. While they can self-right through the use of their spinner, that is something that King B will try to take advantage of, is that will definitely hurt them if this fight happens to go the distance. On the other side, we have King B, who is given the 48 seed despite their quick knockout in the opening round. Those two spikes are able to give opponents a lot of trouble, as they were able to prove that they are quite effective. Those two spikes are quite low to the ground, giving them a lot of push power, but their sides are relatively exposed, which could be a problem if they are not careful. For the first time of the night, let's check out how these two bots managed to get past their opening round matchup and get to this point in the tournament. First up, we have Apex, who landed hit after hit on Black Hole, and the damage they did helped them win past their opening round matchup through a unanimous judges' decision. This will be one tough bot to beat. Their opponent is King B, who made quick work out of Valkyrie and proved that their weapon choice is very effective, managed to push them around the arena, and eventually got them stuck. This is one bot where they think they are underseeded and looking to prove it tonight. Here we go. Apex getting that sprint of speed. King B charges right away, trying to box rush Apex here. Try to keep that spinner from getting up to speed. Big hit right to the sides here. I saw a wheel, looks like a wheel covering came off of King B there. That can't be good. Apex getting that spin up to speed, managing to get away enough time to get that weapon going here, and King B is taking some major shots from that thing. They almost did manage to completely slow him down, but the spike traps getting involved separate the two of them. Apex laying many devastating shots here, but how much damage are they doing? But now King B gets flipped over. meaning that they are a little less effective than they were at the beginning of the fight here. But still, they are charging at Apex, no fear, trying to slow down that spinner, or just stack up some aggression control points, prove that they have what it takes here to win this fight. Apex just went flying there, as did King B after they took a major shot there. But now they are right side up, coming right back on the attack to a spinner at full speed. On Apex, another big shot here. King B has got to be careful though. Oh, be careful of those exposed sides, possibly those tires, as those are what Apex is probably trying to aim for in this fight. Apex getting that bar spinner going here. They're getting in a lot of major shots halfway into this fight, although we haven't really seen a lot of damage out of that spinner so far. We've seen it take off one wheel covering, but that's about it right now. King B has been charging, trying to control this fight here, stacking up on aggression. I don't know about control, but a wheel just came off. King B just lost a wheel and are down to 3 wheels. That may not be good for their mobility here. That could be a problem coming into this fight here. Serious bit of damage done by Apex, but now they are flipped. King B taking control. Oh, could they take control of this fight? But Apex self-rights and manages to get the breathing room. But here comes King B on the chase here. Apex landing some more devastating shots with that spinner. Less than a minute to go. Close fight this has been. What a fight to lead off this episode. Oh, back on the attack, King B giving Apex a little bit of airtime. King B gets flipped once again. 30 seconds to go in this fight. Close fight this has been here. Some big damage dealt out by Apex, but some excellent aggression by a King B. Control could go either way between these two bots here. What a fight this has been. And we're approaching 10 seconds here. It's looking like, unless if something big happens fast, this fight is going to be going the distance. And the clock hits 0, and it is in the hands of the judges. Close fight this might be. Last episode, we had 4 judges' decisions. All 4 of them were split decisions. This is another close one here. We saw Apex dishing out some major shots, destroying a wheel cover early in this fight. We saw some big impacts like that right there. King B definitely got some effective blows in there with those spikes, trying to slow down that spinner on Apex, try to flip them over, give them some airtime, stuff like that. But King B landed a ton of devastating shots, like that one, which removed a wheel and was probably the biggest piece of damage that Apex managed to do here. This should be a very close judges' decision, and I am very looking forward to hearing what the 3 judges had to say about this one, as there are points that could go either way of this machine, and I expect it's going to be close. The votes are in, and we have a unanimous decision. The winner is Apex. Close fight that was. Excellent damage by Apex. That's probably what swayed the judges towards Apex, but still, excellent fight by both machines. We will see Apex in the next round. We stay in the Robot Wars class for our next fight, where we have the 38 seed Kapow, who will take on the 27 seed Lucid Dream. On the left side, we got Kapow with their flipper. This bot needed a wild card to get into this round, but that is still one powerful flipper, something that their opponents will not want to get underneath them. But their sides are exposed there, and they are relatively delicate, so that could be stuff that spinner bots, like their opponent, may try to take advantage of. On the other side, we have Lucid Dream and their horizontal spinner. That horizontal spinner proved in their opening round matchup that it does have a lot of power to it and can cause some serious damage. But they have some exposed sides, some delicate sides that opponents might try to take advantage of, and might be where flipper bots like their opponent might try to aim for. Before we get to this fight, let's show how these two managed to get from the opening round to this point in the tournament. First up, we have Kapow, who was winning their fight, the first 2/3 of their fight, through the use of that powerful flipper. As we saw them giving Cassius 3 some serious airtime, but Cassius 3 turned the tide in the fight, and their flipper was too much for Kapow's control board, but luckily Kapow did happen to get a second chance. On the other side, we have Lucid Dream, who fought Barbarous in the first round. Despite a ton of weapon-on-weapon exchanges, eventually they were able to simply leave Barbarous right on their side like that and win it by knockouts. Here comes Kapow coming right out of the gate and takes a hit from that horizontal spinner. Lucid Dream looking to cause a bunch of damage to that spinner, but they take a big flip, getting a little bit of airtime, and they are upside down here, but that horizontal spinner is still going at full force, and we see a big chunk come off. Looks like it's a big piece of the flipper on Kapow. That is not a good way to start this fight, not even 30 seconds in. But their flipper is still functional, still working, as we saw them get a nice flip on Lucid Dream. Lucid Dream temporarily spinning out of control. Here comes Kapow coming right back on the attack, taking some devastating shots from that spinner here. We've already seen them suffer some serious damage in this one. Here comes Lucid Dream, looking to come right back on the attack, land another big flip. We are approaching 1 minute into this fight here. Lucid Dream has got to be on top so far due to some of that serious damage they have caused already in this one. Here comes Kapow looking to control this fight. Almost gets Lucid Dream out of the arena there. That was a close call for Lucid Dream. Kapow coming right back on the attack, going no fear into that horizontal spinner, like they are going to run away in a fight like this. Excellent determination from them, but off comes a side panel. They are now completely exposed on one side. I see a lot of their electronics here. And now Lucid Dream attacking the other side here, trying to remove that other side panel. Big damage being taken by Kapow here. This is not how they were hoping this fight would go. Little over a minute to go, and Lucid Dream just delivering a beating to Kapow. As Kapow gets flipped over, their flipper is still working despite all that damage they are taking in this one. Kapow trying to get something going in this fight, but struggling to do so here. They may need to win it by knockout, but that's going to be difficult now that they lost their primary weapon completely. And they're jammed against the rails. Are they possibly stuck? A big shot. Control board's in trouble for Kapow, but they are stuck. They are not moving. Countdown on Kapow here. Lucid Dream is looking like they are going to win this one by knockout. And Lucid Dream advances. What a fight that was. Lots of action to show off in this one. Very impressive win by Lucid Dream, and they just made the selection committee talk like they underestimated Lucid Dream, underranked them. We saw a few good flips out of Kapow, but then this happened right here. A big chunk of the flipper, and that was only the beginning here. As we saw Kapow take a lot of punishment, take off a side panel completely right there, along with many more hits that caused a very serious amount of damage. Lucid Dream showed that they are definitely underseeded, and they are looking to go very far despite what they have been given. Very impressive win by Lucid Dream, and I expect we could see some major stuff out of this bot coming in the rest of the season. Coming up next, we have the return of the defending champion over in the Battlebots and Bugglebots class. We have Hydra and Nelly the Ellibot. On the left side, we have the 4 seed Hydra, the Season 1 War Machines champion. They won their way through War Machines last season with that powerful flipper, and we saw a lot of power out of it in their opening round matchup. However though, they do have a limited supply of flips, because if they run out of flips there, they will be left motionless, completely dead, and vulnerable for their opponent. On the other side, we have the next challenger for our defending champion. We have the 61 seed Nelly the Ellibot and their hammer. This bot may have needed a wild card to get into this point, but they showed a lot of potential in their opening round matchup. They have a hammer for their weaponry there, and they have a wedge that is quite low to the ground and has a lot of push power. That front is very well designed, but if they get flipped, they tend to struggle to self-right. Let's see some highlights from both of these bots' opening round matchup. First up, we have Hydra, the returner, and champion here, just tossing around Texas Twister here, and eventually managed to get them out of the arena. This bot will not go down easy. Their opponent is Nelly the Ellibot, who, even though they did not win their opening round matchup, and they managed to get a wild card through their very impressive performance. This bot will not go down easy and will be a difficult opponent for our returning champion. Let's find out if Nelly the Ellibot will pull off a major upset, or if Hydra will make their way towards another War Machines champion. We saw another flip. We saw a flip to lead off this one. Here comes Nelly the Ellibot on the attack, but takes a flip from Hydra. Hydra getting underneath Nelly the Ellibot. They have them in the corner here. Nelly the Ellibot did land a shot with that hammer here. Big time air time for Nelly the Ellibot. As we see Hydra just laying some big time flips, and Nelly the Ellibot going flying in the air here. Now Hydra, another big flip. Nelly the Ellibot getting some serious air time here, but holding up so well to it. Another big flip. Flip after flip being landed by Hydra here. Very impressive performance out of them, and we're not even a minute into this fight. What an exciting battle this has been already out of our champion. Hydra just showing off who the champion is here. Nelly the Ellibot on the chase, tried to land a few strikes with the hammer, but now they are on the chase here. Like said before, Hydra is running away from the 61 seed, but now Nelly the Ellibot flipped over again. Hydra lining up their flipper towards them, pushing Nelly the Ellibot. Where are they pushing them to? Possibly the pit, maybe? Pit's not open. Pushing them towards the rails. A big flip, and Nelly the Ellibot's out of the arena. Hydra wins in another impressive knockout, and the champion's rampage continues here. So we saw Hydra landing a ton of nice flips right off the bat in this one here. Just not allowing Nelly the Ellibot to get a ton of big shots in with that hammer. We did see a few shots on Nelly the Ellibot and a few big moments out of them, but overall we saw some serious airtime being given by Hydra here. We saw Nelly the Ellibot just going flying in this one. Hydra just landed flip after flip in this one, gave Nelly the Ellibot some serious airtime. We saw that elephant doing many flips in the air here. Still, very impressive performance out of Nelly the Ellibot. They gave Hydra a major challenge here. Hydra did not go unscathed in this one. But still, the defending champ moves on, and they are another step closer to a second War Machines title and another out of the arena at their belts. For our next fight of the night, we go to the DSL class for the first time of the night, where we have Mo and Gladiator. On the left side, we have the 2 seed, Mo, and their horizontal spinner. This bot could arguably be the top seed in this one, as that horizontal spinner has a lot of power to it, and we've seen a lot of destruction out of it already this season. But not every design is perfect. Mo definitely has their issues, as they have those 4 exposed wheels their opponents may try to take advantage of. On the other side, we have the 31 seed Gladiator and their lifting spike there. This bot is fast and very maneuverable. I imagine they're going to be trying to box rush Mo. Who knows how well that will work out for them? Mo will definitely be trying to target those exposed sides on Gladiator. We'll have to find out which one of these two bots are more successful. Will Mo make a big lunch out of Gladiator here, or will Gladiator pull off a major upset? Let's see some highlights from these two bots' opening round matchup. First up, we have Mo, who in their main event caused a lot of destruction and tore apart Thermidor 2 piece by piece and won their fight by knockout to get here and was awarded the 2 seed in this class. Their opponent is Gladiator, who showed some excellent control in their first fight and managed to win the pushing matchup and managed to advance that way. However, though, they were given the 31 seed, the second to last seed, and they are looking to prove that they deserve more than just that. This should be an interesting one. Let's get right to it. Here we go. We got Gladiator charging right out of the gate here. Mo off balance a little bit there. And another serious shot from Gladiator. And Mo is off balance here right in the corner. And another big hit from Gladiator. Gladiator just charging at Mo like a battering ram here. And giving Mo a lot of trouble to start this one off. Mo, could we be seeing an upset, a possible elimination of the 2 seed here? We saw the 5 seed go out in the last episode. Could Mo be in trouble here? Mo right now getting away, getting that spinner up to speed here. Gladiator holding up very well to the punishment on that spinner, one of the most destructive weapons last season. And Mo continuing to charge right out of the gate. We saw a few shots to the sides of Gladiator. That could be something to watch here. Mo changing driving tactics here, or it's possibly because Gladiator is actually flipped over here, so their spike is a little less effective. Still, what a fight this has been so far. Relatively even one as we passed 1 minute into this fight. Here comes Gladiator charging again, and off comes the front of Gladiator. That's not how they want to go here. Damage is starting to stack up on Gladiator clearly here, as we've seen the front, as now the front is completely exposed on Gladiator. I see some smoke coming out of Mo too. That can't be good as well. Gladiator going flying, getting sent back by Mo. As Mo is starting to cause some serious damage. Looks like the spike came off on Gladiator too. Not a good way for Gladiator here. They might be in some trouble here. They just lost a wheel guard after that last exchange here. Gladiator taking some serious damage here. Looked like they were going to control this fight, but now Mo is starting to kick in some serious damage. Here comes Mo charging once again, and here landing more shots to the sides despite smoking quite badly there. Less than a minute to go in this fight. Could Gladiator be in trouble here? The other wheel guard has come off. All 4 of those wheels are exposed. Will Mo try to attack some of those juicy tires there? Mo getting away, getting that spin up to speed here, and off comes a wheel. Gladiator has lost a wheel, down to 3 wheels now. The spike trap sends them right into Mo's spinner with it going at full speed. Mo causing a repeat of their opening round fight, stacking up the damage on their opponent. What a fight this has been. 20 seconds left to go in this fight. Could we be seeing another judge's decision? Another big hit by Mo, but the control board falls with 13 seconds left, so Mo wins by an automatic KO. Wow. Wow. Lots of action in this one. We saw Mo taking a lot of punishment at the beginning of this fight. Gladiator was giving Mo a lot of trouble, but then right here was when tables started to turn here on Gladiator. Started taking some serious damage that really caught up to Gladiator. Side panel went off there, spikes went off earlier, their front was removed towards the beginning, and then this all happened, landing a ton of major shots. The other side panel came off. It was around this area where Gladiator lost a wheel, where they were down to 3 wheels for the remainder of the fight. Could that have been a problem for Gladiator in this one? But still, Mo clearly got to the internals here, as Gladiator's control board just could not take it. and Mo won this fight by an automatic knockout and will advance. The 2 seed advance. Now we will see a battle between the 15 and the 18 seed. We have Nightmare, the 18 seed, who will take on Wheelie Big Cheese, the 15 seed. We have Nightmare over on the left side and their massive vertical spinner that helped them with getting a knockout in their opening round matchup. That spinner has a lot of power to it, as we've already seen quite a lot of destruction out of it. But they do have a few exposed wheels there that their opponents may try to take advantage of. On the other side, we have Wheelie Big Cheese, the 15 seed, and they have one powerful flipper here, as that helped them get a reasonably fast KO as well in their opening round matchup. However, they have those 2 juicy tires over on the side that their opponent might try to take advantage of. This should be one interesting fight, but before we get to it, let's see some highlights from these 2 opening round matchup. First up, Nightmare, who got in a ton of major shots in their opening round fight, proved that that vertical spinner is one destructive weapon, and they were able to use that to their advantage and get a knockout victory over Wedge of Doom and advance to this round. Their opponent is Wheelie Big Cheese, who made relatively quick work of Typhoon 2, their first round opponent, showed off that powerful flipper, and then simply had to just lead them and push them down the Pit of Oblivion and advance. Here comes Wheelie Big Cheese, slow out of the gate here, but they get a flip on Nightmare, an early flip there. Nightmare on their head, but they self-right. While they may not be able to self-right like in Battlebots, they can self-right through the use of their spinner here. And they took another flip from Wheelie Big Cheese, and Wheelie Big Cheese eyeing the pit button. They open up the pit. Could they try to flip Nightmare down the Pit of Oblivion? Another big flip, and Nightmare in the corner right here. Here they gotta get out of there fast and get some shots with that spinner, and Wheelie Big Cheese is not making that easy for them. Another flip by a Wheelie Big Cheese. Bit of a rally right here, and another flip. Wheelie Big Cheese is on the attack, not allowing Nightmare to get a big hit in with that spinner. Saw a little jab right to the front there by Nightmare, but Wheelie Big Cheese holding up very well. To Nightmare's spinner. There's a few shots from Nightmare's spinner. Nightmare getting some shots on that spinner, but they get flipped once again. Wheelie Big Cheese lead them towards the pit, maybe get Nightmare down it, as that might be wise before that spinner possibly starts doing some damage. Here comes Wheelie Big Cheese, taking some jabs from Nightmare's spinner, and another flip! Nightmare spending a lot of this fight so far on their backside. We're approaching the halfway point in this fight. I'd say Wheelie Big Cheese is on top in this one, but not by much, thanks to the use of that flipper. There's a few shots from the spikes there, gotta watch out for those things. And Nightmare getting a few shots to the backside of Wheelie Big Cheese, and another hit to the side. Nightmare gotta try and go for those tires there. They're trying to reduce Wheelie Big Cheese's mobility, but they just took another flip there. Wheelie Big Cheese, very efficient use of that flipper so far. A couple more shots from the spikes there. Wheelie Big Cheese has got to get off there. They're now taking a bunch of big hits from that spinner, but they seem to be holding up very well to it. And another big shot. Wheelie Big Cheese now in the corner, but they get out of there now and turning that flipper towards Nightmare, but they're taking some more shots there. They got to get off the spike traps first, as right now those things are just getting in the way, giving Nightmare some big opportunities with that spinner. A little more than 30 seconds ago, very close fight this has been. Lots of action out of both machines here. Less than 30. Some more shots to the side, almost getting to the wheels there is Nightmare. But who's gonna get that finishing blow? Who's gonna get that last impression on the judges? Uh-oh. Control board, it went yellow for Wheelie Big Cheese. That's not good here. Wheelie Big Cheese showing some signs of damage here. Less than 10 to go. Looks like this one is going to go to the judges. And this one could be interesting. I gotta say, this could be a close one. Like I said, we saw Wheelie Big Cheese very efficient use of that flipper at the beginning of this fight, giving Nightmare a lot of trouble, putting them on their head quite a bit of the time. Luckily for Nightmare, they can self-right through the use of their spinner here during this tournament, but Wheelie Big Cheese just kept flipping them, just kept trying to prevent Nightmare from being able to effectively use that vertical spinner on them. We did see a bunch of jabs to the sides, to the backside, and a few to the wheels on Wheelie Big Cheese, but they held up so well throughout the first like 80 to 90% of this fight, and even kept getting that flipper in on Nightmare. Does this one giving Nightmare some airtime here? It would have been awesome if they even managed to flip him out of the arena, but it was close. Right here, this could be the big question. We saw Wheelie Big Cheese control board take some major damage after that hit. Could that be enough to sway the judges towards Nightmare? Let's hear what they had to say, as I expect this will be a close one. And we have a split decision. Judge Green Square scored this battle in favor of Nightmare. Judge Battlebot Nate scored this battle in favor of Wheelie Big Cheese. Finally, Judge Porinog scored this battle in favor of the winner, Nightmare. Close fight that was. Looks like that damage at the end and the many jabs swayed the decision over to Nightmare for some of our judges. Still, very close fight, very entertaining fight out of both machines in this one. Now we go back to the Robot Wars class for our next battle, where we have BreakerBox taking on Limpet. On the left side, we have the 39 seed BreakerBox and their lifter. That lifter is very well armored, and they proved in their opening round fight that it could take a heck of a punch, even though they did not come out on top on that one and got a wild card back into this one. Still, BreakerBox is a major threat, as that thing is low to the ground and it has a lot of push power. They proved this in their opening fight, but they do have those exposed sides, and more importantly, they are less effective when upside down, as that was a problem in their last match. Hopefully they get it together for this one. On the other side, we have Limpet and their wedge. That wedge is a lot of push power and very low to the ground. This is another bot where it is less effective upside down that BreakerBox may try to take advantage of. Let's now see some highlights from both of these machines' opening round matchups. First up, we have BreakerBox, who started off their opening round matchup with a bang, just pushing Electric Boogaloo around, just not allowing them to get a major shot with that vertical spinner. But after they were flipped, it was pretty much over for BreakerBox, as they were taking some major shots. On the other side, we have Limpet, who didn't need a wild card to get in here. Now, as Limpet showed some amazing push power, amazing driving ability, proved they are very well armored, and managed to get Typhoon 2 down the pit of oblivion and advance the fight by knockout. BreakerBox came out of their opening round fight, got a wild card. Can they come back from that and win this fight? Or will Limpet, who didn't need a wild card, advance to the next round themselves? Here we go. Now as both bots circling around each other to start this one, BreakerBox getting a lift in there early to start this one, but now Limpet's getting underneath BreakerBox here. Limpet seems to be the lower to the ground machine between the two. That'll still be something to watch here, as we have seen BreakerBox get underneath Limpet once already. Here comes BreakerBox on the attack, but really struggling on that front of Limpet. Limpet's really controlling this fight so far. Limpet just not giving BreakerBox a chance to get underneath them, get that lifter in on the action. I was kind of expecting this would be a driving match, a push valve right here. This is kind of what we're seeing here. As BreakerBox just going over the top of Limpet, just struggling to get control of them. Excellent job by Limpet, just not allowing BreakerBox to take control of this fight. The Pit of Oblivion is now open. One of these spots going to get into it. We see BreakerBox trying to outmaneuver Limpet, but struggling to do so. Here comes Limpet with the charge, but they take a shot from the floor flipper, and BreakerBox is underneath them temporarily, but now they are free. Limpet coming right back on the attack, right back on the chase, charging at BreakerBox. And right now, I would say this one, so far, Limpet's got to have the lead here, as BreakerBox has been really struggling here in the first half of this fight. As BreakerBox at the sides of Limpet, getting a flip on Limpet. Could this be the opportunity BreakerBox needed here? They have Limpet in the corner now. Could a turning point be happening here? Could we see a comeback coming from BreakerBox in this one? They were behind on points, but this is going to be really impressive if this happens to go the full 3 minutes here. Limpet needs to get out of that corner and fast, and now they're right side up, and BreakerBox takes a shot from but now they are under. BreakerBox has Limpet in the corner once again. BreakerBox, less than a minute to go here, pushing them towards the rails and getting them out of the arena, and BreakerBox wins by KO, and the wild card advances. We saw BreakerBox get underneath Limpet at the beginning of this fight, but it looked like at first that was going to be their only opportunity in this fight, as we saw Limpet constantly getting underneath BreakerBox, just not allowing them to use that lifter to their advantage, stacking up the control and aggression points with Limpet, thanks to all that right there, as BreakerBox is just really struggling in the first half of this fight, even the first 2 minutes of this fight. That was, wow. Limpet just gave BreakerBox such a hard time in this one, but then around here, BreakerBox turned the tide, got a flip on Limpet, and Limpet was less effective upside down, couldn't push BreakerBox around as well as they could right side up, and BreakerBox took advantage of that, and then it was this point right here, there was a kill shot. I didn't think BreakerBox had the power to toss a bot out of the arena, but they showed they do in this episode, in this fight. We stay in the Robot Wars class for our next battle, which is a flipper battle between an adorable kitten and Behemoth. On the left side, we have the 37 seed and adorable kitten and their flipper. That flipper is very powerful, but of course though, like a lot of machines, their sides are quite vulnerable and probably what their opponent might try to target. Their opponent is Behemoth, the 28 seed, another wild card team coming out. Now, as they had a tough first round matchup against Last Rites. That flipper has quite a bit of power to it. It's also quite low to the ground. This bot is quite well armored. This is one bot to never underestimate, even with it coming out of a first round loss. They also have the problem with exposed sides there, so I imagine these two machines are going to be trying to outmaneuver the other, trying to get to the other one's sides, and that could be the determining factor in this one. Before we get to this, let's see some highlights from each of their opening round matchups. Now, as we saw, Adorable Kitten struggling a little bit in their fight, but eventually was able to get that flipper underneath Kaiser, and it wasn't long before they managed to flip Kaiser out of the arena and win their fight by knockout to get to this point in the tournament. Their opponent is Behemoth, who took hit after hit from Last Rites and their damaging horizontal spinner. However, they did do enough to get chosen by the selection committee for one of the 14 wildcard spots in this class. Here we go. Here comes Behemoth on the attack right now, charging at an Adorable Kitten here. Who's going to get underneath the other first? And it's Behemoth getting a flip early, and they're underneath an Adorable Kitten, taking them into the corner here. Adorable Kitten has to get out of that there. Behemoth just tossing them around with that flipper. These two bots going to head on once again. Behemoth seems to be lower to the ground between the two machines, but still, don't ever count out an Adorable Kitten in here. Now, as they proved, prove that they can still win fights with that powerful flipper, and we've seen other flipper battles where one flipper controls a majority of the fight, but then the other one takes control and wins the fight already this season. But Behemoth has Adorable Kitten in the corner, just tossing them around with that flipper. We haven't seen one flip from an Adorable Kitten yet in this fight. Those their flippers yet to be seen here. Here we go, Behemoth charging in there, and Adorable Kitten gets their first flip on Behemoth. But Behemoth lands right side up, and back on the attack they are. And another flip from the wild card. Behemoth, the wild card, taking control of this fight, almost flips him down the pit of oblivion here. And another flip, and down the pit of oblivion is an Adorable Kitten. Behemoth advances to the next round. Gotta say, we saw lots of head-on stuff here. Behemoth seemed to be the lower to the ground machine, which could give them an edge as for what we were seeing here. But of course, you never want to count out your opponent here, as we have seen many comebacks this season. But Behemoth just kept an Adorable Kitten in the corner, just kept that flipper underneath them, just kept flipping them, just didn't give an Adorable Kitten a chance here. As we saw him taking them into another corner here, landing a ton of more entertaining flips, showing lots of control here. An Adorable Kitten did not get many opportunities in this fight, but in this next highlight here, in this next replay, we have another one here where we have Adorable Kitten's only opportunity in this one. We saw one good flip out of them, but that was about it out of them. Behemoth simply flipped them almost into the pit there, but then one more flip after that. Behemoth managed to successfully get an Adorable Kitten down the pit and ensure their spot in the next round. Fantastic fight that we just saw. Coming up next, we go back to the Battlebots and Bugglebots class for Tantrum and Uppercuts. On the left side, we have the 37th seed from this class. We have Tantrum, who probably pulled off the biggest opening round upset, taking out Tombstone in the opening round. This bot has a puncher and a drum spinner combination for this one that is very effective, as we have seen it already cause some major damage. However though, their armor is relatively delicate here and could be vulnerable to a spinner like their opponent. We have the 28 seed Uppercut over on the other side, and their vertical spinner who won their opening round fight by a knockout as well. That spinner has a lot of power, but the big thing to watch out for are those exposed wheels that they have, as I imagine their opponent may try to take advantage of those. This should be an interesting fight. Two fantastic bots return to the arena for this one, but before we get to it, let's see some highlights from their opening round fight, show how they got here. First up, we have Tantrum, who pulled off the upset of the opening round, in my opinion. Managed to take out the big dog Tombstone in this one, and managed to win it by knockout. Knocked off the weapon, caused some major damage with that drum spinner in order to win this one and advance. Their opponent is Uppercut, who also got a knockout in this one. Managed to land some major shots with that vertical spinner, show that this bot is out for blood and is looking to cause some major damage and claim a War Machines title for themselves. Let's get to this fight now. Here we go, Tantrum racing right out of the gate, meeting Uppercut on their side of the box here. As Tantrum's got Uppercut off balance and a shot to the wheel there. Tantrum trying to go for those exposed wheels, and right now underneath the Uppercut here, this is not where Uppercut wants to be, as Tantrum getting underneath with those wedgelets they added for this fight compared to the plow that they used against Tombstone. But now Uppercut, they appear to be stuck on their spinner. That is not what they want here. Uppercut is stuck. A countdown could be coming. Tantrum hanging back right now. Are they going in for another hit maybe? Maybe trying to knock them back out, try and keep this fight going? But no, Uppercut's still stuck and they've been counted out. Tantrum wins and advances to the next round. First Tombstone they've taken out. Now they've taken out Uppercut. Tantrum has got to be a bot to watch in this one. We saw Tantrum racing right out of the gate. They managed to knock Uppercut off balance very early in this fight and just took control of this one right from the start here. This was the area, pretty much the knockout blow. Oh, here. We saw a weapon-on-weapon shot. Uppercut got knocked off balance again and landed right on their spinner where they could not move and they were stuck there for the remainder of this fight. We will see Tantrum in the next round. I cannot wait to see what they manage to do for the rest of their tournament run here. Coming up next, we go back to the DSL class, where we have Horf, who will take on Thermidor 2. We have Horf, who is the 13 seed here, with their Undercutter. That Undercutter proved to be a very powerful weapon in their opening round fight. But their big problem, even though they do have some spikes, their ground game is kind of a big issue for this one if their opponent managed to avoid those spikes. As well, they do have those exposed sides and their exposed top armor area that their opponents might try to take advantage of. On the other side, we have the 20 seed, Thermidor 2, and their Flipper. That Flipper has a lot of power to it. But then, of course, this bot did need a wild card to get to this point after they had a very tough first round matchup. Still, this Flipper bot is not one to underestimate here, as we saw a lot of power out of that Flipper from last season, and this bot went very far. I imagine Horf will be trying to target those exposed wheels and those delicate claws on them. So now, as usual, let's see some opening round matchups from these two bots. We saw Horf, who was paired up with Pussycat for their first battle. Managed to do some major damage in this fight, managed to cause some major chaos that awarded them with a high seed and a major KO in their record book here in this one. Their opponent is Thermidor 2, who landed some nice flips, which may have been why the selection committee chose them for a wild card, but of course they did leave the arena after that fight in a bin bag when they took on Mo there. But Thermidor 2 is back, looking to come back from that loss. Will they do it? Or will Horf continue their championship run? And by defeating Thermidor 2. Here we go. Thermidor 2 charging right out of the gate, getting a big flip early in this one. Horf flipped over, almost got tossed out of the arena there. Thermidor 2 almost won this fight by a very quick knockout there, but now Horf back on the attack, got the spinner going flying again. Thermidor 2 charging once again here. Horf struggling to get something going here. They are getting some jabs in. How much damage are they doing? But it doesn't matter now, because Thermidor 2 just tossed Horf out of the arena and just took out the 13 seed. Wow, a lot to take in on this fight, as we saw Thermidor 2 charging right in there, no fear, just like in their opening round fight. Almost got Horf out of the arena after that second flip in this fight. Now, as Thermidor 2 just denied Horf the chance to get to some of those exposed areas on them, and just kept them flying in the air, caused some major damage here. This area was pretty much what ended it here, as we saw Thermidor 2 toss them out of the arena and win this one by knockout. Wildcard advances. Speaking of wildcards, our main event tonight features two bots who needed a wildcard to get here. We have Gabriel and Hypnodisc. On the left side, we have the 31 seat Gabriel, black bot. This design is very unusual, and they proved in their opening round fight that sword that they have, it does have quite a bit of power to it and can cause some damage here. But of course though, this bot is a relatively difficult bot to control, and as well, they have those two big wheels, which could be very vulnerable to spinner bots. Their opponent happens to be a spinner, as they have Hypnodisc, the 34 seed, and their horizontal spinner. That horizontal spinner does have a lot of power to it. We didn't really get to see it much in their opening round fight, as they were getting controlled a lot by their opponent, Bulldog Breed. We'll hopefully get to see a lot out of it. Bulldog Breed exposed that they don't have a lot of push power, that could be a big weakness in this one. Now, let's see some opening round fights from these two contenders. We have Gabriel started off this fight landing a ton of big shots in there, a bunch of damaging blows here. But Tornado's control that they managed to show in this fight, like in this point as one of the many moments, helped sway the judges towards them, and Gabriel needed a wild card to get here, which they got. Their opponent is Bulldog Breed, who is just getting tossed around the entire fight here. But because of the potential of that design and some of the damage they did do in that fight, they gained a wild card as well and got to this point in the tournament. Here we go. Main event, Battle of the Wild Cards. Which one of these two wild cards will advance to the next round? Here comes Hypnodisc right on the attack. Taking a hit is Gabriel here. Another big shot from Hypnodisc here. Hypnodisc getting some major attacks on the tires here. How much damage is Gabriel taking? They seem to be holding up very well, but they are off balance right now. Hypnodisc just giving Gabriel a lot of trouble in this one. We haven't seen a really big shot out of Gabriel so far in this one. That's going to be something to watch here. Now is Hypnodisc just not allowing them. Very aggressive is Hypnodisc right here. Another shot from a floor flipper. Lots of action from the hazards here. There's a shot from Gabriel, probably the first one of the fight here. Now is another near miss by Gabriel. Many of those so far. Hypnodisc trying to target the wheels here, and they finally knock off one. Gabriel has drive on one side here, but now they're trying to land some shots with that sword. They do manage to get a few shots in there, getting a few hits in. Seems like they're having an easier time with just one wheel now. Oh, definitely an odd thing here. As here comes Gabriel trying to land some more shots here. Hypnodisc trying to take out that other wheel or take out the control board. Either one of those things here. But Hypnodisc in complete control, causing some major damage with that spinner. Things are not looking good right now for Gabriel. Halfway through this fight here, 90 seconds to go, Gabriel just has taken a huge amount of damage in this one. And Gabriel's still fighting here, still keeping their movement going. Still landing some strikes with that sword, and they lost the other wheel. Gabriel is now not moving here. I think Hypnodisc just needs to hang back here. Countdown could be coming on Gabriel any second here, but Hypnodisc just needs to back off here. But they're coming back for more, showing no mercy on Gabriel here. Poor Gabriel here. And here comes Hypnodisc, knocking Gabriel down the pit, and Hypnodisc advances in this battle of wild cards. Wow. I did not expect an outcome like this, but it did happen though. Oh, now as we saw Hypnodisc just knocking Gabriel off balance right from the start of this fight. I expected this one was going to be a lot closer than this, as for the outcome I was predicting, with this possibly going either way. But this was around the point where things started getting bad for Gabriel. Managed to lose a wheel. They did happen to land some shots with the sword during that, do some damage, but Hypnodisc held up so well to those attacks there. And then it wasn't long after this point where Hypnodisc managed to get the other wheel here, cause some more sufficient damage, and they were not done with Gabriel even after wrecking their mobility here. Now as they wanted a bunch more hits in there, and then it wasn't long after that before Hypnodisc managed to hit Gabriel down the pit of oblivion and secure their spot in the next round of this tournament. What a main event that was. Another great episode is in the books. We saw 10 more great fights, and 10 more machines show that they have what it takes to win the whole thing. As for Stars of the Night, Behemoth, Thermidor 2, and Hypnodisc, all three being wildcard recipients, won their matches tonight, and we will see all of them in the next round, proving that they were definitely worthy of that second chance. Tantrum had another stunning victory in their matchup today. Mo had another destructive performance in this one. The biggest star of the night, though, has to be the War Machine Season 1 champion Hydra, who tossed their opponent all over the arena once again and proved that they are here to win War Machines for the second time. This bot will not go down easy. 20 fights are down in this round of the tournament. Many more to go in this one. 10 more amazing fights will be coming for you in the next episode, and I will hopefully see you next time.